What's good, YouTube? Yup, boy 21 here, bringing you 3 tips to gain the upper hand on your opponent during a Yu-Gi-Oh game. I felt that this video was important to me because honestly, some of these tips have actually helped me win games that I pretty much shouldn't have won. But by knowing these tips through practice and actually having a team who used to implement these tips a lot when we used to go to Naruto events, it gave us the edge over our opponents. Starting off, number more tip: showing up to your game with no playmat and your deck in a plastic bag. Now, think about it for a second. Usually, 9 times out of 10, when someone does that, that means they're a beginner at the game and they really don't know what they're doing. So, they're probably just there with a friend or family, or they just get into the game and they just don't care about investing that much money into it. So, those pretty much are the noobs that who does that. So if you're a decently good player or even an okay player and you show up to the table like that with no deck box and your deck is in fucking a plastic bag and you have no playmat, your opponent's gonna be like, okay, I got a scrub. They're gonna ease their attention, making them less likely to take you seriously in the beginning, and that's gonna basically give you an amazing advantage because they're by them not taking the game seriously, it's gonna give you a few turns to outplay them, which is very important. So the number one tip is show up to your game with no playmat and a plastic bag. Well, mainly the no playmat is really much all you need from what I've seen. The plastic bag is just if you want to be try to be add some extra spice to it. Number two, have a good poker face like this, or having a serious face all the time like this. That way you can keep a stern look and a confidence to your aspect of the duel, because if your opponent see you with a stern face, not acting like oh fuck or like shit, then it's gonna show that you're confident, that your hand's not bad, and they're almost wonder what you're doing, what's going on in your hand, then the wonder on how they're gonna beat you, which could pretty much lead you to winning that game because they're going to throw off guard, such that they draw an okay or bad hand. Another way to implement this too, with using facial gestures and etc., is if you have an amazing hand and you think your opponent have a better hand, play like you have a bad hand. Meaning you see your hand, you're like fuck, shit, just say what you want, add a little aggression to your sets like you really don't want to. You end your turn, and then your opponent attacks into you, you flip a gear armor, and you're like, haha, dumbass, I got you. Happened to me before, honestly, not even gonna lie, and I've done that to people before. So, number two is facial gestures. Keeping a stern face if you want to try to outbeat your opponent, and keep it if you have a bad hand, and if you have a good hand, you can make it seem like you have a bad hand and completely throw your opponent's psyche off. So, mastering on facial gestures do take practice, but once you master them, sorry, damn slurring kicking in. Once you do master them, it's gonna give you amazing advantage of a ton of players. And number three, playing something that's not meta, because that really fucks people's brains because they don't know what the fuck's going on. Now, granted, this tip isn't for everyone because some people love playing meta and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a player like me who hates playing meta, or if you're a player who just likes to try something different every once in a while, you play a non-meta deck at a big event or even at a locals that's competitive, it's gonna completely throw your opponent off guard, especially if it's a good deck, because they're not gonna know what's going on. They're gonna be reading all your cards, and it's gonna take their brain off of their combos and put it more focus on trying to understand your deck. So they got multiple things thinking about versus just thinking about, okay, I know he's playing deck X, Y, and Z. I know how to counter those decks, so I'm just gonna go into this combo and go for game. Like for example, when I played against Sylvans on Sunday, I got my ass destroyed against the Sylvan player round 7, and it wasn't because I didn't. First of all, I didn't read half the cards. I kept reading cards over and over and over, and it was frustrating because I kept forgetting what they did. I was low on sleep, and I'm pretty sure the few turns I could have made Abyss Dweller first turn and just wrecked that deck, which I thought about doing after the game, but I didn't because I was inexperienced against the deck, and it caused me to lose. So having inexperience against decks causes people to lose. So if you're playing something rogue like heraldics, gadgets, I wouldn't consider Sylvan's role because it's gaining more popularity, or but say something, bring back something old school like X Sabers. It can really fuck people up because they don't know what's going on. They're gonna have to read every card, and it's gonna throw their focus off from what they're really trying to do with the game. So, to go over these 3 tips once again, number 1 is showing up to the duel with no playmat and you're decking a plastic bag because it eases the opponent's attention, thinking they're gonna play against a scrub, and it's gonna make them less likely to take you seriously because which will lead you basically to gaining massive advantage. Number 2 is basically mastering facial gestures, having a good poker face, and sending your opponent off when you have a good hand, making them think you have a bad hand. It's all about playing the psychology of it, and doing that takes practice. And once again, it can lead to your opponent misplaying and reading you wrong. And like I said, number 3 was playing something that's not meta, because playing something that's not meta will ultimately give you that surprise attack advantage, which can win games, and which history have shown us won wars. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and show your support. Rate, comment, subscribe. This is Jumbo21 and I'm out. Deuces.